For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. I want to say Merry Christmas to you because this show goes live on Fridays, and Christmas is Friday. Not that I'm actually working today, but if you are tuning in because you subscribed and the show automatically downloads when your podcast feed or whatever it is, I do want to say Merry Christmas to you. And not at the risk of offending anybody, because let's start off with that. Let me just set this up. Today we're going to be recapping the big celebrity stories and entertainment stories of 2015. But on the subject of Merry Christmas, I posted a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, on Facebook, I'm not going to a Christmas party if I cannot call it a Christmas party. We know what it is. If you've got the tree in the corner and you're playing Christmas carols and we're drinking eggnog, it's a Christmas party. And just like somebody could wish me Happy Hanukkah, I wouldn't be offended by that. I don't celebrate Hanukkah, but at the same time, I look at it a little bit deeper and say, hey, somebody's wishing me well. Whether somebody says happy birthday to me and it's not my birthday, is that going to piss me off? No, it's not, right? Somebody could wish me happy Father's Day. I only have pets. I'm not technically a father because, the term father is in our society is a parent to a child for the most part. But because pets are so big in people's lives that we do consider ourselves pet parents, right? So, or they could say Happy Mother's Day. I don't know. I'm not going to be offended by that. But if we have to start changing what we call it, like, happy woman who pushed you through her loins day, instead of saying Happy Mother's Day because, maybe a feminist is going to be upset by that. And I'm just giving that as an example. I'm not knocking feminists. But it's interesting that in today's world where we've got social media, everybody has an instant platform to have an opinion, have their say whatever's on their mind, but now we're so easily offended. So it's almost like we need to dial back the social media thing and not give everybody a platform to speak their mind, have opinions, and blast it out there to the world. Freedom of speech is one thing, right? We all know that that's a right, but it seems like it almost should be taken away for the simplest things. For the simplest things. We've got to walk on eggshells now. When I worked in retail years ago, that was around the time where we had to stop saying Merry Christmas to people. But we did it anyway. I worked at Party City. I was an assistant manager there. If somebody's coming in and buying Christmas plates and decorations, I'm going to say Merry Christmas on the assumption that they celebrate Christmas, right? I mean, I don't know if that's offensive or not, and you just assume things about people, right? If you're buying all of these Hanukkah decorations, it could be for a work party or somebody else, but, so now it's this happy holidays thing. Now, I like to sort of, between Christmas and New Year's, which is the time that we're in right now, I like to say happy holidays because you could still be wishing somebody Merry Christmas if you haven't seen them in a while. And then New Year's is coming up, so you want to wish them Happy New Year. So happy holidays is all-encompassing. And again, wish me Happy Kwanzaa. I don't care. The fact that you're wanting to send me a nice message and say something nice to me, that works for me. That works for me just fine. Call me up on the 25th of December and say, Happy birthday, JB. I'll take that as well. I will take it. I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. It's interesting because when I posted that, if I can't call it a Christmas party or whatever, I'm not going to it, the people that responded, it was hard to tell if they were agreeing with me or disagreeing with me because they also had just a strong opinion about it. And if you've ever followed any of my social media, by Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, I'm not all that serious on it, and nothing really easily offends me anyway. So I don't know if these people just didn't quite understand what my joke was, because really, at the end of the day, I don't get invited to parties. No, I'm kidding. But, definitely it's a shot at how easily offended people are, and I just, I think it's sad. I think if you can't go through life having a laugh and being, a little bit lighthearted with things, then there you go. So live at jbonair.com is my email address, live at jbonair.com. So as 2015 comes to a close, we talk about the big celebrity and entertainment stories of the year. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about the couples that are newly together, the couples that have split, babies, drama, and December. Even though mid-December to the end of the year is usually a slow time, it's been very busy, and that's how we've got our thumb on the pulse of celebrity news and gossip, and we're going to talk about it all today right here on the Scribble when we come back.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom41.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 41.com. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom41.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and SoundCloud and iTunes. Once again, my email address, live at jbonair.com. Live at jbonair.com if you want to share your thoughts about saying Merry Christmas to somebody. It's not a holiday tree in my living room. I'm sorry, it's a Christmas tree. They're Christmas decorations. They're not holiday decorations. I've got a couple of teachers in my family. My mom's a teacher. My brother's a teacher. And, it's now a winter concert. Like, it's just so strange. It's like that whole gluten thing. Like, gluten is so trendy now. And transgender. Speaking of that, we are going to recap some of the big stories of 2015 in entertainment and celebrity. Do you like that segue, by the way? We're going to talk Caitlyn Jenner and the Kardashians. A big year in terms of drama and gossip for that family because, well, one, there's just so many of them, and two, there's never a dull moment when it comes to the drama with the K clan. So let's start with Caitlyn Jenner, or Bruce Jenner. The big transition started this year with him finally coming public as a woman on the cover of Vanity Fair, and then winning that big courageous award for having his wang chopped off. Right? Isn't it just courageous? I'm Canadian, and when I think back to, Terry Fox, who was a hero, battling cancer and trying to run across Canada, you look at the courage and bravery there, and then when you look at something like, let's say, Caitlyn Jenner, who's the courage and bravery of becoming a woman at 60-some years old, you obviously have the balls. Get where I'm going here? You obviously have the balls to pose in sexy lingerie on the cover of Vanity Fair. So I don't know that you needed any encouragement to be courageous. It just kind of seems like you're doing it the Kardashian and Jenner way, which is splashy and controversial. So the split from Kris Jenner after 20-some years of marriage, 25 years of marriage, I believe, was also kind of interesting because that's got to be a kick in the balls for Kris, who now I guess has an ex-wife. Is Bruce Jenner an ex-husband and then Caitlyn Jenner an ex-wife? I don't know how we classify that because it's all still new, right? Transgender, it's the new trend. And let's move down into the younger folks in that family. Kim Kardashian had her second baby with husband and baby daddy Kanye West, Saint West. The second child for them, the first one, of course, Northwest, that is already being spoiled and a little diva. So there was the controversy with her pregnancy, with Kim's pregnancy, where she was having complications and that having the baby could have risked her health and the baby's health and ultimately their lives. And then the doctors had told her, now, no more kids for you. No more baby for you. And that should be the end unless they adopt or have another way of having a child. So moving on then to Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom. That is a huge split. Now, they signed off on the divorce not too long ago. And then there was that, I would think embarrassing, weekend at the whorehouse in Nevada where Lamar Odom was found passed out, overdosed, and where were the prostitutes? Where were the whores? They fled. Did they steal things from his room? And it was interesting then that the Kardashian bunch, with Khloe leading the helm, flew to Nevada, was at his bedside, was apparently, according to Lamar's dad, Joe, calling the shots about his recovery in hospital, who's allowed in, who's not, who can see him, who can take selfies with him, and the recovery has been slow going, but originally they thought that he might not survive. Then they figured that he would have irreversible brain damage, and now he's rehabbing where he's, and not the drug kind, just getting his body functioning again, where he's able to walk a few steps and recognize people who are there seeing him on a daily basis. And that update just came to us a couple of days ago. So the divorce was signed, waiting for a judge to stamp it, make it official. But then Chloe and apparently Lamar, even though he wasn't in his right mind, both agreed that they wanted the divorce stopped. We want to take this back. We're going to stay married. Even though Chloe ended up coming forward and saying, well, it's not romantic and it's not sexual. It's just not the right time. What was the right time? You've already signed off on the divorce. He's been whoring with whores for the past 2 years. He's been partying. He's been drugs, booze, reckless. So why? It's strange that she just can't let go. So let it go, right, from Frozen. So there's that story with Chloe and Lamar. Are they back together because she was in a relationship with another basketball guy? She kind of puts that on hold to go back to the husband that picked hookers over her. And so the drama ensues there. Now, let's go over to sister Courtney, who split from baby daddy Scott Disick, 3 kids, not married. And Disick always having his trouble with partying. Again, alcohol. Is it drugs? We don't necessarily know. He's had several attempts at rehab, and just recently was on the East Coast jet-setting with a bunch of teenage models in New York and in Florida. We saw the skin pics of them getting flirty and cuddly with each other. Now, sources were saying that it was Scott's way of saying to Courtney, well, you know what? I don't need you. I'm a hot commodity, and I'm going to make you jealous while you stay at home watching our 3 kids, though I imagine she's got staff that does that because, for her part, Courtney is hooking up with Justin Bieber, and that's been going on for several months now. And again, it's a pissing competition because is she trying to make Scott Disick jealous by hooking up with the Biebs? Ultimately, Bieber is getting his ego stroked on this one because Courtney is a MILF, as they say, and so he's just loving the fact that she's a businesswoman, she's mature, and she's hooking up with him. So, a responsible mother? It's hard to say because she was spotted coming out of Bieber's house at 4:30 in the morning one weekend. So again, it makes you wonder who was watching the kids, the staff. So, the cougar, or the MILF, an all-nighter at Bieber's place at 4:30 in the morning. Now, Bieber was apparently hooking up with a Jenner girl, one of the teenage Jenner girls. So is Courtney getting sloppy seconds? Well, that's yet to be seen. Now, speaking of Bieber, let's just jump to Bieber for a second. We saw a lot of him in 2015. We've seen him shirtless, we've seen him in his underwear, we've seen him sweaty and half naked even just on stage, but the world saw Bieber's dong, and he was skinny dipping, I guess, in a private pool or hot tub, whatever it was. I think it was in Europe, and the world saw him naked. Now, this is one of those things where whether you wanted to look or not, you looked. Because you wanted to see what Bieber's packing. And here's the deal. Women, men, straight men, gay men, males of all ages, wanted to see what Bieber's got. What is the appeal? And is it worth all of the hype? Because Bieber, as we've heard, will visit brothels. He's got women, let's say girls, all over him all the time. He's hooking up with Victoria's Secret models, Kardashians, Jenners, nameless hookers in South America. So what does Bieber have? We'd heard rumors that Bieber was packing. Now we finally saw it. And what was the reaction? The world was pretty damn impressed, let me tell you. Bieber might not have all that much talent nowadays, but he's got talent under his pants, is what people decided. Now, then, a couple of months later, there were these other pictures purportedly showing Bieber with a boner, naked pictures of Bieber, hard, fully erect, for the world to see, taking pictures of it. Now, we are hearing that those pictures are not real, but people are again looking very closely to see. They're matching up the tattoos. They're looking to see if every little detail on his body, he's not a teenager anymore, his little teenage body. Is he a teenager? Yes, he is a teenager, isn't he? Didn't he just turn 18, 19, something like that? I don't really care. But he's saying that the boner and everything is not his, and it's got people wondering. So Definitely would love to hear your thoughts about the Kardashians and Justin Bieber. Send me an email live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. We continue our recap of 2015 in the world of entertainment and celebrities right here on the Scribble, right after this.
If you're diabetic, this message could change your life. Is your blood sugar out of control even when you do all the right stuff? Are you afraid of diabetic blindness and the risk of amputation, as well as all those other side effects? Well, you should be. Is there anything that could help manage your blood sugar? Nobetes is a natural supplement that may quickly and dramatically lower your blood sugar.
My name is Bob Corder. I've been using Nobetes for about 3.5 to 4 months now. And in the first 3 months, I've actually lowered my blood sugars from 500s down to 139, and then it dropped to 88 to 93.
My name is Kirsten. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and while taking Nobetes, my blood sugar levels dropped from 295 to 115 in just 1 day.
The FDA hasn't evaluated these statements, and Nobetes isn't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But for many, it's helped drop their blood sugar. So if you've been evaluated with high blood sugar, don't delay. Evaluate Nobetes now. Call 800-478-9568 and get your free bottle. Just cover shipping and handling. Call 800-478-9568. That's 800-478-9568.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. We recap the year in entertainment and celebrity for 2015. Another big story that just happened last weekend, Miss Universe. That's all I have to say. You know, December, mid-December to the end of December, well, December in general, usually a very slow month when it comes to news and reporting and big things happening. Steve Harvey announcing the wrong winner at Miss Universe took the world, literally the world, by storm. Now, in case you were under a rock and you didn't hear this story, Steve Harvey was hosting the broadcast last Sunday and announced that Miss Colombia was the winner, saying that Miss Philippines was the runner-up. Turns out, this is where it gets sketchy, he misread the card and said that it was Colombia who won. He then came back on stage saying that he was wrong, saying that he misread the card. Then he blamed the teleprompter, saying the teleprompter was wrong. Then backstage in the press room, he said that it was his fault. He took responsibility for what happened. So naturally, the conspiracy theorists the next day or in the days following were jumping all over this. And it actually, I jokingly tweeted about it as well, wondering, was this a publicity stunt? Because here's the deal. Miss Universe. It's watched by fives of people around the world. It made headlines when NBC dropped the show because of Trump's racial comments. NBC subsequently fired Trump, and then Trump also sold off the Miss Universe pageant. Fox picked up the broadcast. This is the first time that Fox has broadcast the show. And is it something to get people watching? It certainly got people talking about it, because here's the deal. This happened at the end of the live broadcast. Something happening earlier in the show could potentially drive traffic and get people tuning in, but at the very end, it's highly unlikely that you're going to boost the ratings for it. Now, it could be for the West Coast, because the buzz was already starting to happen in between the time zones, and then when it finally aired for the West Coast, that could have been an attempt to get the ratings boosted for one side of the country. But are people going to be watching next year just because of this year's blunder? Probably not, right? Now, there was also said to be a big rivalry between Colombia and Philippines during the competition, so that also had people wondering if it was rigged that those two contestants were the finalists, and then you'd have one country celebrating and the other devastated, then have a complete reversal and emotional change because Philippines then gets the sloppy seconds for the crown and the walk after there was about awkward 2 minutes of waving congratulations for Colombia. So definitely people are talking about Steve Harvey, and was this a boost for Steve Harvey? Was it something that maybe he just did to get his time in the spotlight? Because if anything, it blew up in his face if that's what he was going for. But again, publicity, people talking, that's what you want. I was reading a report from a PR agency that basically said within 24 hours, Steve needs to come forward, do an interview on some show, have a laugh, make a joke about it, apologize again, and get over it. Now, as the days have gone on, it's interesting because, you air this broadcast right before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas, when not many people are watching television anyway, so it seemed sketchy, the timing of it. But in one of the slowest news weeks of the year, which if you're listening to this the week of Christmas, December 25th, this is the story that dominated the headlines. So did it work? Absolutely, it worked to get people talking. For good reason? Who knows? You know what? Celebrities are shameless when it comes to getting people talking about, or getting, promotion for what you're doing and what you're promoting. So yes, is this good for Steve's brand? Potentially. Will he be asked to host another award show? I'm not sure. I really don't know. Another big revelation was Charlie Sheen coming forward to say that he's got HIV and the drama, because he admittedly, over the past several years, has had intercourse with over 200 strippers, hookers, females, let's say, in general. So the Today Show tried to hype this up, saying that Sheen was making an emotional announcement on the show. Well, all of the tabloid websites scooped that and basically told the world he's got HIV. He's talking to Matt Lauer about it. So Sheen's doctor appeared on the show saying that Sheen is absolutely fine, the HIV isn't detected in his blood, and he's okay. And then you have all of these women coming forward, his previous wives, his goddesses. If you remember when he went through that breakdown, he had his goddesses that were by his side. And even fellow co-stars. Jenny McCarthy came out and just lashed him, just tore him to shreds, saying, you know what, I've got to sign release forms if I've got a cold sore, just anything, when I'm on TV. Sheen's got HIV, and that's something you might want to know about if you're doing scenes with him where you're naked and you're in bed. Sorry, I just dropped my pen if you heard that loud clink. And, the world did not react favorably to that. But also Sheen was the brunt of jokes, because I made the joke saying I had hepatitis in the office pool, and congrats to Tim who had HIV. It wasn't a surprise. I don't think that, and it's sad to say, but I think that if Sheen dies of a drug or an alcohol overdose, I don't know that people would be very surprised at that. Now, again, I'm not saying that I hope that or predict that or anything, but it's certainly something that's going to be laughed at and a joke, because that's just the way his life is, and he doesn't seem to be bothered by it, so be it, right? Now, in other relationship news, though, we've had lots of breakups. We've had Gwen Stefani, right, and Gavin Rossdale. We had the new relationship with Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. Blake, of course, splitting from Miranda Lambert, the two Stefani and Shelton on The Voice together, and apparently that's where they really struck up a relationship. Now, Blake and Miranda's relationship seemed to break up because of cheating accusations on both sides, and, who was the one cheating? We're not quite sure. He apparently threw her stuff out and kicked her out of the farm or wherever they had a residence together, and now Shelton is just living the Hollywood lifestyle with Gwen Stefani. Some of those other breakups, Brian Austin Green, he was on anger management with Charlie Sheen. Him and Megan Fox, they were together for at least 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a big split there. Charlize Theron and Sean Penn. Ariana Grande, the donut licker, and Big Sean also split this year. That was a big one. Halle Berry and Olivier Martinez. That was a shocking one as well. Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck. Big split on that one. So, what were some of the big stories that you found this year? Again, would love to hear from you. live@jbonair.com is my email address. live@jbonair.com. We're going to talk about the Brits in just a bit. We're going to talk Adele, the royal family, and One Direction right here on the Scribble right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. Thanks for tuning in again at thescribbleshow.com, on SoundCloud and iTunes. Happy New Year to ya. And the last segment, I mentioned that we're going to recap the entertainment news from the UK, across the pond from North America. Big news there with the birth of the new princess, right? Princess Charlotte was born to Prince William and Kate. And of course, Kate, looking glam, comes out of the hospital 17 minutes after having the baby, looking fabulous. Because, most people, she's almost like a Kardashian, has an entire makeup, hair, and wardrobe crew when you're having a baby there. But when you're a royal, that stuff kind of happens then, doesn't it? And so that's the second baby for the couple. Prince George, of course, the first of the family born there. Now, Prince Harry, a good uncle, apparently, right? By all accounts, anyway. Elsewhere, One Direction. Zayn Malik left the group. Now, originally it was because he wanted to focus on his relationship and have a bit of private time out of the spotlight. But just a week or so ago, he did an interview where he said he actually really didn't care for the direction, ironically, of the band. Management had one view of where the group should go in terms of its sound and overall style. He would record something, he says, and they would redo it over and over again until it was basically the way the managers wanted it to begin with. So he had no sort of creative freedom, as he says. Now, for his part, Simon Cowell, the one who signed them to his record label, called it rude. He said that Zayn was rude for bashing the people who wrote the music, who produced the music, who managed the music, and who managed the group, and also the guys who had a hand in creating the songs and sounds of One Direction. Now, this is one of those things where you're kind of split, right? Do you want to stick with backing One Direction, or do you want to side with Zayn because he's a cutie and he's a hottie? I don't know. The One Deers seem to just love all of them still, right? It kind of happened with the Spice Girls too, when Jerry Halliwell left, and it was kind of like, uh-oh, they're not together, but should we like both of them still? And people did. Now, Adele, her huge comeback in 2015, I had to laugh because everywhere you looked on social media, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, people were posting the link to her song, Hello. I jokingly, after a few weeks of it, finally said, hey, did anybody hear that Adele has a new song? Because everybody was writing and tweeting and posting about it, which I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Adele set a record, beating NSYNC, for the most sales of the single within its first week. Now, that record was shattered before the week was even up. Adele hadn't even had the 7 days of sales yet to then best NSYNC with it. Now, if it's NSYNC who had the record, come on, of course Adele can do it. Jeez. And then just this December, you've got Adele live in London, and then Adele live in New York. So you've got all these TV specials of her doing her live concerts. And then she was on SNL. She was just making appearances everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how many records she shatters just in the last part of 2015 compared to artists who had the music out all year. So Adele's album had just come out, and yeah, really, really working wonders. Now, she said a lot has changed in her life, right? She's got her kid, she's got her new man, and she even got emotional during one of those TV specials, saying that it was the first time that he was there watching her performing live, and so she was a little bit nervous, and she choked up a little bit. But that's why we love Adele. We love Adele. I don't even want to call it a comeback, because it's not like she had a kid. She was being a mom. She didn't get out of the music business. She just didn't make any new music for a while. She's allowed to do that. She's allowed to do that. We love Adele. We absolutely do. Again, send me your thoughts about the biggest stories in the entertainment world of 2015 live at jbonair.com. Live at jbonair.com. Another big story that we had was the death of Bobby Christina. Whitney Houston's daughter was found unconscious in a bathtub, much like her mother was. And for months, she had been in a coma and just ultimately passed away in July. She was in a hospice. And then her boyfriend, Nick Gordon, was the subject of all of these police investigations and wondering. We heard that they were doing drugs before she was found unconscious in the tub. But, nothing really has come forward in terms of charges or anything being laid against him. So, there you have it. Lots and lots of drama in 2015. Now, let's recap some of the things that we've had here on the Scribble podcast, because we launched just earlier this year. This is our 44th week of programming. Tons of celebrity guests. We've had, let me just go through this. Jeff Probst from Survivor, Phil Kogan from Amazing Race, Lisa Gibbons from Celebrity Apprentice. We've had comedians Margaret Cho, Russell Peters, Chris D'Elia. We've had, I'm drawing a blank now. We've had the Sharks. We've had Kevin O'Leary. We've had Barbara Corcoran. We've had Kenny Rogers. We were live from Kenny Rogers' dressing room before a show. We've just had lots of big celebrity names. We've had Cesar Millan, the Dog Whisperer. We had, who did we have? Oh my, I'm drawing a blank now. We had Joy Behar. We had Taylor Hicks. We had Mel B from the Spice Girls. We had Howie D from the Backstreet Boys. We had Nick Lachey. We had Hanson. It's so crazy. We've had so many guests, but it's been great, and I love talking with all of them. So thanks to everybody who's been on the show. We've got some more great weeks of programming coming up in 2016. One more break, and then we're wrapping things up right after this.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Yes, on Twitter at The Scribble Show. Would love you to tweet us up at The Scribble Show. And my Twitter is at SFCelebWatch if you want to follow or tweet along. At SF as in Speak Free Celebwatch. We've got celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap Up. That's at entertainmentwrapup.com, entertainmentwrapup.com. And all of our celebrity guests are at Speak Free Celebwatch. So if they haven't been on this podcast, we've had them on speakfreecelebwatch.com, and you can just spend hours listening to all of those. We've had a lot of fun with surprise guests. I'm going through puberty there. We've had a lot of surprise guests, lots of fun, and I look forward to another exciting year of podcasts. So again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. I want to thank everybody who makes this podcast possible. That's the people in this room with me and the people out there in internet land who are downloading and subscribing. Live at jbonair.com is my email address. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,